Hello and welcome. I'm Ross Wright, and this is our series here at Hope and Home on adoption and foster care. I'm the executive director. I've been here for the last 20 years. I've been in this industry for 30, so I have some thoughts I'd like to share with you that I think will make it easier for you to navigate the foster care and adoption world. The first question that most people ask is, how do I pick an adoption or foster care agency? What are the criteria that I should be looking for? What should I avoid? What are the things that matter and what are the things that don't? Let's start. The first thing that you're going to have to think about is, what do you want to do? Do you want to do foster care? Do you want to do adoption? Are you interested in foster care and adoption? What is your price range? What can you afford? And what does your area have available? The first place that you look typically is towards the county or the state government. What are they doing? Does my county or state offer these services? And usually this is a good choice for an inexpensive way to get involved in the foster care and adoption world. County governments and state governments tend to do more in the world of foster care and less in the world of adoption, although some states will help you with your adoption needs. If you can't find a state agency, then you're probably going to want to look at private agencies, especially for adoption. There are a lot of foster care and adoption agencies, oftentimes called CPAs. And this does not stand for Certified Public Accounting. It stands for Child Placement Agencies. In Colorado, we have over 50 CPAs, Child Placement Agencies, and they can do adoption, they can do foster care, and they can do both. Some do international private adoption and foster care adoption. Some only do foster care adoption. Some only do foster care. So it's important to narrow down your choices based on what it is that you want. If you're interested specifically in international adoption, then you want to look for an agency that specifically does international adoption. Sounds simple, but it's not. It's sometimes hard to navigate this because by name alone and by the agency listing, you may not be able to see immediately what it is that they do. All right, let's assume you're interested in foster care and foster care adoption. You have a choice of going to a county or going to an agency. In Colorado, we have a unique system here where we are state licensed and county administered. What does that mean? That means that the state of Colorado licenses all of the agencies, but the counties administer it. So that's a different system than you see in most other states. You need to figure out what your state in particular does. Is it a state licensed agency? There are many agencies out there where the state does everything. Or is it county? Or like Colorado, is it a hybrid? So in Colorado, you have a choice. You can go through the state via a county. So you get a state license through a county. Or you can go to a child placement agency. Well, which should you do? I obviously have a bias because I run a child placement agency, so I'm going to tell you what that bias is. I like the opportunity that families get when they go through a child placement agency. Now, some counties, Boulder County, for example, Durango, La Plata down in Durango, they don't use child placement agencies. So you're going to have to go through the county. And they run good foster care. They really do. And so that's not a problem. Some counties in Colorado, like El Paso, don't do it themselves at all. They outsource the entire thing. So you have to go through a child placement agency. If you're up in the Denver area, you have a choice. You can go through individual counties or you can go through a child placement agency. My recommendation always to everybody in this situation is check them out. We all look good online, okay? Go to the actual place and check it out. Go for a tour. Physically see the agency that you're getting involved with. You'd be surprised, but some agencies don't really exist at all. Some agencies exist mostly virtually. I have seen child placement agencies where there really isn't even an agency, not a physical agency. People have signed up online, and then when they wanted to get services from that agency, they were shocked that the actual agency was maybe one or two people operating out of their house. There wasn't actually a facility at all. So the most important thing I can tell you, whether you want to choose a foster care agency or you want to go through the county, go to it. Check it out. meet the people, go for a tour, figure out what they're about. That's the most important thing to do. So your first step is to figure out what kind of foster care or adoption you want to do. Your second step is to go visit places. Now, what are some of the advantages of using a child placement agency? In Colorado, it's kind of a nifty system because you have the county, which provides their services, and you can do your work through an agency like Hope and Home, and there's no additional cost, so you get both. I obviously think this is a really good idea, is to use the child placement agency because you get both. What are some of the other advantages of a child placement agency? Well, if you go with a county, you're going to have that county specific. Okay? You're going to work with that county specifically. You go through Denver County, Arapahoe County, Jefferson County. If you get licensed by that county, you're going to work with that county. If you get licensed with Hope and Home, we work with all 64 counties, and so you can get kids from all over the state. For me, that's a big advantage of working with a child placement agency. Another advantage of working with a child placement agency, most of us fundraise, and as a result, we're able to bring more services to the table. And as I said before, you still get the county services. So I like the idea of being able to be with a private agency and get what they have to offer and get what the counties offer, and at the same time be able to access kids from all over the state. So obviously I have a bias here. I work for Hope and Home, but I can also tell you I work with most of the counties in the state of Colorado. They do a good job too. And so you're going to do well with either choice that you make. All right, let's decide that you have decided to look for a child placement agency. There's over 50 of them in the state of Colorado, some very small, some very big. Some do only foster care and adoption. Some do all kinds of stuff. There are agencies in the state of Colorado that do refugee work. They do all kinds of stuff. And there's others that specifically do foster care. Again, the best way to decide which one that you like, make a list, go online, find the ones that you like, and then go visit them. Again, agencies can look great on paper, they can look great on the internet, and then you go to meet with them, you're surprised at what they look like in real life. This is a very serious reality in the foster care world. Check everyone out before you sign on the dotted line. What are some of the things that you should look for when you're checking these different agencies out? Size is one. If they're too small, they're not going to have a lot of services. You might like the intimacy of the small agency. That's an advantage to a small agency. A larger agency is going to have other families that can provide respite for you. Respite's a very important thing. And a child gets placed with you, if you have to leave the state of Colorado or you have to go somewhere, someone else has to watch your child when you're gone, because oftentimes a judge won't grant for that child to travel with you. And sometimes, as you can imagine, those needs arise very quickly and you have to leave very quickly. An agency with less than a dozen homes may not have homes available to do respite so that you can get away on a moment's notice. So larger agencies usually have more resources, they have more other families, they have additional services. Can they be too large? Yes, they can. See what all services an agency provides. Is foster care just one of a dozen different things that they do, or is the main product that they offer? This is important because you don't want to get lost in the shuffle. Do they have support groups? Do they have activities? Do they have activities for your kids? Do they have childcare while you're in your support groups? Do they have 24-hour access via a hotline or a after-hours support line? These are all critical things to ask about, because you don't want to have an agency that places a child with you but does nothing else. You want to have an agency that places a child with you and then supports you as that child lives in your home. You want an agency that you can call a home supervisor and they'll come out to your house when you need them. You want to have an agency where there's someone that knows you when you call the front desk. These are all critical things to think about when you're looking for an agency. Another thing to look at is, do they have experience in the type of child that you want? This is an important issue. There are some agencies in the state of Colorado that are really experts in working with sex offenders. There's some agencies in Colorado that are wonderful in working with kids that are stepping down out of higher levels of care. There are others that specialize in younger children. Find out what the agencies that you're looking at specialization is, and look for the agencies that meet those needs that you specifically have. Location, also important. You want to have an agency that has home supervisors nearby so that you're not driving forever to get to the agency or get to the support groups. All these things are important. Does the agency provide services online? Online is really important. Do you have to actually go to the agency to get certified? This is a challenge. There's a lot of educational requirements to be a foster parent, and there's ongoing requirements. Foster parents are required in Colorado to do 20 hours of ongoing education. Is this available online? Critical question. If it's not, you're going to find it really difficult to place your children somewhere so you can go and get all this education. Do they have childcare? If they don't, you're not even going to be able to bring your kids. Childcare is critical, education is critical, online training is critical, activities and events, do they include your own kids? That's critical. What are the staff like? Are they educated? Are they trained? Are they going to be able to help you with the things that you are dealing with? All these things are critical. Again, I go back to the first thing that I said, the most important thing you can do when choosing an agency for you and your family is go there. Check them out, talk to them, rely on your gut. Do you feel like these are the people that I can trust and count on for the next potentially 10 years and the rest of your life? This is Ross Wright. You're listening to our Hope and Home edition on foster care and adoption. I hope you enjoyed this segment. We have a lot of others. Please look around and see what else interests you. Thank you.